Welcome to the Self Love Uncensored Podcast. We are your hosts. I am Vanessa McWilliams.
And I'm Amanda Wozni.
And we are self-proclaimed experts in all things self-love.
Here you'll find uncensored discussions about life, living unapologetically, and becoming our best selves. Welcome to today's episode. What are we even on? 14?
14, I think. I think last time was 13.
I think it was.
Yeah,
lucky number 13.
14. Should probably put that in our thing here. Oh, what a day. What a day. Just before.
What a year.
Yes, right? Oh, it's to go right along with what's happening. The phone's ringing. That seems to sum up how our days have been going today. Good Lord.
Yep.
Good Lord. It's just
yesterday was a disaster and we didn't record, and today's doing its damn best to just be like,
this is real life. Like today, the gods were like, let's do a real life episode of how it really is behind the scenes.
Yep.
Being crazy.
So
like
we're gonna 1-2 sucker punch back, and instead of doing something serious like we normally do, we're just gonna have some fun.
100%, which I think we both need it, to be totally honest as well. I think it's so needed. My heart needs it. I think we've talked about some really awesome things over the since we started the podcast. Like there's so much learning to be done. So I think we've done a really good job. The feedback that we've got so far from listeners, thank you so much, has been really positive. So we're really grateful for that. But I think today, like you said, we're going to do some fun questions. And before we hit record, we were answering them all and trying to answer them. And there's some really funny ones. So we're going to try and blaze.
It's just random. You're going to learn stuff about us today. You're not going to probably learn anything super productive, but that's okay.
Yeah.
If we make you smile, then mission accomplished.
Well, and some of these questions are really good. Some of them do make you think. Some of them are brain busters, but like the first one is pretty good.
Some of them are gut busters.
Totally. 100%.
Okay, let's go. We're going to ask Vanessa first. So I've seen this floating around social media. So when I was Googling, I was like, oh, I have to freaking ask this question. And Vanessa thought it was fucking hilarious. So here we go. Vanessa.
Yes.
Would you rather fight 100 goose-sized horses or 1 horse-sized goose?
It's such a stupid question, but it's so good. Okay.
Especially when you start to think about it. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Like death chicken, a horse-sized death chicken? Hell no.
And what kind of horse? Is it like a Shetland pony or like a Clydesdale?
Right? Like,
I don't really think I want either, though.
I all of a sudden envision myself in like Jurassic Park with like getting hunted by a Clydesdale sized death chicken that only has blood for me. No. Hell no. I'd rather fight 100 death chicken or goose. If you're from Canada, you know what I mean. Canadian geese are mean. Yeah. I'd rather fight 100 goose-sized horses, not one gigantic big one. Those things could kill you.
Like, I'm pretty sure they could kill you at the size they're at if they really wanted to.
Right?
Like that video of that one with the lady that like kept attacking her and even got into her car. Like, holy man, I'd shit my pants. Like, I'd just be like, this is it. This is how I die. I wonder if goose death is covered in my life insurance policy. Like...
So I'm afraid of lake sharks and you're afraid of horse-sized death chickens. Done. Now we both know.
Who's not? Like, unless I have every single gun that I own upstairs, then I might be okay with it.
Oh my God. So, okay.
But then again, goose-sized horses can fucking kick hard. They're going to kick the shit out of your shins. Like, that would hurt. They could also bite. Like, I don't know. Both sound pretty risky to me.
Right? But at least if they're little.
But there's 100 of them. So if they like lined up, well, if like you got to fight them 100 times in a row.
But could you imagine if like you were I'm thinking Jurassic Park. There's a scene where there's like those tiny little
the raptors.
Things. Yeah, the tiny little ones. Yeah. And they look like all nice really or whatever. But then they eat the guy in the river. Like, if there's one at a time, if they're lined up and it's like, okay, go. And then you can like take them one at a time, like Donkey Kong in the barrels. Sure. That's great. But what if they're like, just go, you come over the crest of a hill and they're all just there. Amanda. And, and you have to take, Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I have more questions. Can I bring guns with me or not?
So do you just have to start like, who's that karate guy? Chuck Norris. Is that the guy? If you could just like start Chuck Norrising them all, maybe. But I
think Chuck Norris would take the horse-sized goose though, and he'd probably like kill it with a fucking plastic straw or some shit. Like,
here's a twig.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do.
Here's a calculator and a toothbrush. Go to work.
Tube of toothpaste. Best question. I don't know now. I'm gonna have nightmares.
I don't know. I need more questions answered before I can answer the question.
I would still err on the side of 100 small ones.
Yeah, a giant goose would be scary.
100 goose-sized horses. I would still go for the goose-sized horses.
Because geese are still pretty big.
They are.
Like, those horses could still be a decent size, but then
you could just tame them and ride them around.
Too, like,
throw a saddle on it
over top of them. But you could ride a horse-sized goose. How fucking cool would that be?
But not a death chicken.
But maybe it's a nice one and it would protect you.
That depends now. I think we've taken this question like
way too far.
So if we could tame them, yes, a goose-sized.
So if we could tame them or shoot them, our answers change. I mean, if I could shoot the horse-sized goose, they're really good meat. I could eat for like a year off of that thing. Right?
Sure.
I'd need like a machete to freaking take all its meat off, but
so gross. I don't want to play this question anymore.
Okay, let's move along.
I still would err for the little ones. I feel like I'd have a bit of a chance. I'm gonna have nightmares now. Yeah. I've just added horse-sized death chicken to my list of irrational fears beside like sharks.
Yeah,
100%.
He'll be cruising on top of the shark through the
100%.
Lake.
Yeah, 100%. Totally. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you the next one.
Mm-hmm.
If you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room, I haven't read this one yet. If you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room for the rest of your life, what song would you choose and why?
I liked that question, and then I just didn't even think enough about it.
Right? I was just thinking, I got to go through my playlist now.
I think like my all-time favorite song ever since I was even a kid is I'm in a Hurry by Alabama.
Oh, yes.
Like, I could listen to that song 24 hours a day for the rest of my life and probably still love it. Either that or Fishing in the Dark by Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Either one is like.
But for you to walk into a room, it'd be like, Amanda, here, like, I'm in a hurry to get things done. All right. Like, that's what you would want everybody to like announce you as.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
I also am in a hurry to always get things done. So it's relevant. I think it's less about like, I don't really think it's that you're being announced, just like every time you walk into a room. So you would hear that song over and over and over and over. Like, what would you want to listen to that you wouldn't get tired of? And you can ask my sister. My sister's quite a bit older than me, and she used to have this really freaking cool purple Mustang back in the day.
Yeah.
And she's 12 years older than me. So she was like my idol when I was younger, and she would pick me up back in the days of CD players and stuff like that. And I literally would play that song over and over and over to the point where she was like, you have to pick a different song because I cannot listen to it anymore. And I was like, what are you talking about? Play it again, play it again, play it again.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Seeing, I don't know. Ooh, Danger Zone from Top Gun. I love that song. I could play that song over and over and over. Get on the highway and put that in my car. Yeah. That's a good one. That always gets me pumped up. I'd say that one, or I'm looking through my playlist now because as soon as I read it, I was like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
It is totally a tough question. And I'm thinking like, there's so many good songs. I got Spotify over the weekend.
Yeah.
And my husband's had it for quite a while. And I was like, we got it at the same time, but he went on and like downloaded a ton of songs like right off the bat. And I've just been kind of like as songs creep in. I'm like, ooh, and it's been like building my playlist, but now it's all like Britney Spears and Sky and like Christina Aguilera, from like the 90s and stuff. So now I'm kind of like, I don't know what my song would be because there's so many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think anything Britney Spears. She is my spirit animal. Anything Britney Spears. The day she shaved her head during her, I felt bad because she was having like a public meltdown. But the day she shaved her head, I was like hook, line, and sinker. She was my favorite.
That's
110%. Yeah. Or Pink. Anything by Britney Spears or anything by Pink.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, anything by Pink. I was gonna say the actual song. I got all excited there for a second, but I can't remember what it's called. Anything by Pink or anything by Britney.
You could sing it for us if you really want to.
I don't remember how it goes. Oh, my song just started playing.
It's like this song?
This song? Yeah. I don't remember. It was one of her ones about like loving who you are. And now it's going to drive me crazy. It's either Raise Your Glass, I think. Is it Raise Your Glass or
I haven't listened to Pink in like 20 years.
It's fucking perfect. That's the song. Pretty, pretty, please. Don't you ever feel like you're less than, hold on, I need a microphone, less than perfect. That's the song. I would have that song every single time I walk into a room. Yeah.
That one's good.
You're welcome. You can send thank you cards for me gracing you with my beautiful voice to selfloveuncensored@gmail.com.
That's right.
So good.
That's right. All right. Question number 3.
Yes.
What advice would you give to your previous boss if you could?
I'm not going to say who my previous boss was. It's nobody that anybody's going to know. It's a random human, but I'd say be nicer, be kinder, have more compassion. Because I think I'm not going to, like, it's not from a judgy place whatsoever. But I think in the environment that I was in, it was very dominated. That's not a word. Man dominated. And there was very much a complex of people higher up than you, knowing that they're higher up than you and treating maybe the people that were down below a little bit less than. And I think that spoke volumes in work ethic and stuff. So I would definitely say be a little bit more compassionate, not to the point where you're babying people, but just be kinder. I think just everybody in general can just be a little bit kinder to themselves and to each other. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Be nice to the people you work with. You have to spend a lot of time with those people. Be nice.
That's true. That's a good point.
What about you?
I think, and mine applies to a few. I had a few bosses in a row that were like really similar. And I would say that if you end up in a leadership or management position that you're probably not qualified for, you should probably try to actually learn to have the skills that it takes to do your job. Like there's lots of people I feel like just stay at a company for a really long time and they get moved into a management position because it's like the nice thing to do. Like, oh, you've been here for 20 years. So sure, we'll give it to you, but they're not qualified for the job. They're no good with people. They don't understand what it is they're overseeing. Like a lot of my background is in like automotive service and heavy duty service. And I hate to say it, but I had 2 female bosses, and nothing against females because I was in that industry and I knew more than probably some of the mechanics that freaking worked in the shops. Like I love that kind of stuff. It makes sense to me. And I learned a lot about it, but I literally had 2 female bosses that like, they could barely fucking tell you what your tires were on your car. And they were like in management positions in service. And it was like, you're not qualified for it. And then you're over top of me trying to tell me how to do my job when I know 10 times what you do. I want a boss who knows more than me that I can go to and rely on, and that still has people skills and management skills. So I think a lot of people, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, even then, if you're in a position where you may not be completely qualified for it, at least be trying to learn. That's the biggest thing, right? Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. If you're just complacent and you're just thinking that that's the role, and that you've got the role and you've done enough that you need to do to earn the role, but you're not still actively growing. I think that that's where there becomes a problem.
Yeah. Or relying on like the people that you hire to be the experts. Well, no, because those people still at some point need to go somewhere for information and advice and leadership. And if you're not more proficient at the job than they are,
yeah,
right? Like I feel like when you get to a management position, it should be based on like your people skills, your capacity in your job, your knowledge, your expertise, all that kind of stuff, your experience.
Yeah.
You don't just get there because you've been around the fucking block for 100 years and now you're a manager. I literally had 3 in a row that were like that. And that like, it was because of the boss. And I think that's a statistic that goes around all the time, that most people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses.
They do. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that a couple times.
And people are also really bad for lying on their resumes. Don't do that, because everybody around you knows.
110%. Well, and if you do, it gets found out pretty quickly once you're thrown into the role, right? Yeah. Like, it's not good for anybody. No. Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
What would you relive your days in high school if you could?
This is one we discussed before. We had totally different answers on. I totally would, because high school is like the last hurrah before you're completely responsible for your own life. And being an adult that has bills and commitments and all that kind of stuff, and like the day-to-day stress that you realize now your parents faced when you were a child, I would love to go back to that, like carefree, not knowing what's coming, not realizing how fucking good you have it in high school. Like when you're in high school, it feels like terrible for the most part. It feels like wherever you are in high school is like how your whole life's going to be, your social status and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's nothing like that. But yeah, I think high school is like the end of your childhood. Once you graduate, like you're an adult and you're done. And yeah, I think it would be fun to go back to that. What about you?
Fuck no. Hell no. Hell no. Can you hear me screaming it from the rooftops? You couldn't pay me to go back to high school. Fuck no. But I had high school for me was like, it wasn't like a turning point. I can't explain it. High school for me was awful. It was awful. And I think like most people can say that like they've got good memories of high school and they've got not so great memories of high school. Like that's just the human experience. Yeah. I have no good memories from high school. My high school experience was nothing but trauma rolled up in drug abuse, rolled up in escapism, sprinkled with having no one that understood what I was going through and being the weird kid. Fuck no. You could, if someone came up to me right now and was like, I'll give you $1 million to go back and do high school again. No, thanks. Not a chance. Not a fucking chance. The only way that I would ever go back and do it though, is if we were to be able to take the consciousness that we have now and the learnings that we have up until this point and go back and be able to use them. Yeah. That would be different. Cause then I'd be equipped and I'd be able to handle it and I'd be able to change the way that things happened. Yeah. But if it was legitimately like someone's just going to press the rewind button and you have to go through the entire experience exactly the same way as you did then, not a fucking chance. Nope. Not a hope in hell.
Yeah. It's crazy that your experience would totally predicate like how you would feel about that. Right.
Yeah. I'd rather scoop my eyeballs out with a fork. Not happening. Honestly.
Okay, well, we're not going to add that to the question list. So let's move along.
110%.
Eyeball fork scooping and horse-sized gooses. Oh,
right? Welcome to Self Love Uncensored.
Yeah, that's right.
This is what we talk about though before we hit record most of the time.
We talk about the most random shit.
Weird random shit. 100%. Yeah. Okay, it's your turn.
Okay. One piece of advice for yourself on your last day of high school.
Oh, I didn't see this one when we were doing all the questions. Gotcha. One piece of advice for yourself on your last day of high school. Leave it all behind. That's what I would tell myself. leave it all behind, close the chapter, leave it all behind, grow from it. Use what you've been through and use what you've learned. It's going to be the springboard that launches you into amazingness and freedom in the future. Leave it all behind, close the chapter and move forward.
Yeah.
And don't take what people say and think of you as truth. That's what I would tell myself. They're all fucking liars.
That's true.
Yeah.
Totally
that's what
true.
I'd say. Yeah. Find your own way.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you?
That's good. I think, and I kind of touched on it a little bit already. I feel like in high school, we all get so stuck on like our social status and that it's going to predict like the way, if you're like a loser in high school, you're going to be a loser for your whole life. And if you're popular in high school, you're going to have like the most amazing life. And that's just not how it works. So I would tell myself that your social status is literally going to mean absolutely nothing tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And that in 10 years, all the people that you think are your best friends and are there for you, you might talk to one or two of them.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I can say the same thing, like thinking of all the people that I hung out with in high school. I don't hang out with any of them now. And I shouldn't say that I hung out with a lot of people because I didn't. I had only a core 2 or 3 friends that wanted to be friends with me. But even then they weren't, looking back, they weren't quality friends. There was lots of gossiping, lots of backstabbing, all that crap, right? But it's funny because some of the people who back then I would consider like the cool kids or the popular kids, I've reconnected with some of them now over social media and stuff that have found me through mutual friends and stuff and have reached out and said some really nice things and these people were never people who actively bullied me or anything in high school. They were just kind of in the situations because of other people that were doing the things.
Yeah.
So I don't harbor, I don't harbor any ill will towards them, but it is interesting 20 years later, 25 years later. Oh my God, 25 years later, 20 years later to say, like, to reconnect with those people who back then had the better social status. Right. And I was most definitely one of the losers. So yeah, it's interesting how life happens that way, but yeah.
And when you're in it, it literally feels like, I think that's why the suicide and the depression and the self-harm rates are so high in school.
Yeah.
Is because it feels like what that bubble is the same bubble that you carry on to once you graduate. And it's like, literally the day you leave, you don't see 99.9% of those people ever again in your life.
No.
You might see them on social because a lot of, like, you're probably like me, a lot of people, like, they'll add you on Facebook or you follow each other on Instagram, but you're not actively engaging in like thoughtful dialogue with them. Like literally a handful of the people that you know in high school will continue throughout your life if you're lucky.
Yeah. I think I have 2 or 3 people that I'm still friends with, but I knew them prior to high school. I knew them growing up through elementary school. And I have one good friend of mine who I met going into junior high. And she's somebody who I love and respect dearly and have a really great relationship with. But yeah, for the most part, there's not anybody, and I wouldn't go back to high school for sure. I wouldn't redo it all over again.
Yeah.
No. Okay, here's another one. If I gave you $50,000 to start your own business, what business would you start?
I'd open a gym.
Oh yes, we had this conversation.
I think that was actually for the next question, but it applies to both. So
it does. So let's do this. Let's switch it over to the other question. If you had to work, but you didn't need the money, what would you do?
So I would open a gym, and then for anybody who couldn't afford it, I would still give them free access. Like, I wouldn't let money be a barrier to entry to take care of people's health.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I would do my coaching services, my coaching business, and my speaking for free. 100%. I would just love, and I drive around and tell people they're fucking amazing and give them cupcakes.
Yeah.
Because that's what
I know. I love those videos.
If someone drove up to me and was like, "You are fucking beautiful," I think I'd start to cry. Like some random stranger coming up to me. Like, I think I'd be like, ah! And I love watching those videos on like TikTok and stuff. I think they're amazing. But everyone loves cupcakes. Drive-by. Totally. And everyone loves cupcakes. So I'd have like a carload of cupcakes. I drive around and tell people how fucking amazing they are and give them cupcakes.
And throw cupcakes at them.
Yeah, I'd hand them.
You're beautiful, catch.
Incoming.
No, it's COVID. You can't get within 6 feet, so you'd have to throw it to them.
Yes, that's right. I'd lob it.
Speaking of that, oh my God. Mike showed me the funniest fucking video last night. This is totally just a tangent to like the 6 feet thing, but
yeah,
some of the stores like take something to put your like fast food in or whatever to pass it to you, which
the tray.
Don't even get me started, but whatever. This was a Tim Hortons. And they were using like one of like their steel like meal, like their prep bin kind of things. So he freaking orders this 40-pack of Timbits, and the guy puts it in, goes like this, and he turns in his truck and he grabs this frying pan and he goes like this out the window. He's like, just put it in here. And I was like, oh my freaking God.
I've seen a video.
The guy was just like, what do you want me? He's like, just dump him in. And he's like so confused. I was like, the only thing he didn't do, he should have taken his own spray sanitizer and like sprayed his container and his as he was dumping it.
There was a video I saw that's kind of like that was at a drive-through where the guy went to reach for his food and someone ran between the window and the car and stole the drive-through food. It's like in a blink of an eye. I was like, oh my God, I'd be so mad if someone stole my donuts. Like, are you kidding?
God,
nothing comes between me and my carbs. Like,
no, how would there be room? I pull up so close. Right? There's no way unless you were like a stick man. You ain't fitting in there.
No, I do too. I have short arms. I have like Tyrannosaurus Rex arms that I can't.
Literally. Yeah. And I like my seat like really low in my SUV too. So like, yeah, I got to get right up close. My car's like beep, 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 because it thinks I'm going to run into the building.
Right. That's so funny.
Anyways.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So good.
Now let's shift gears.
Yes. I think this question is so good for like this last year, the last 18 months, 15 months, however long we've been in this for.
Eternity.
Right? It feels like it some days, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Definitely.
So how do you deal with change?
Oh, I think it's so funny because to precursor, what the hell is that word? To preempt whatever, you get the gist of this question. Like this last 2 weeks of us trying to record this podcast, like everything has been changing. It's been like absolute mayhem. We've had some recordings in the bank and we've used them all up. And now we're like, fuck, we have to record because changes are happening and we don't have time.
Yes. Thank you to the government for online schooling. That was fantastic.
Right? Yeah. We attempted it. We had a good go at trying to record with 5 boys under the age of 14.
We were 2 weeks ahead and then they closed schools for 2 weeks and now we're behind.
Yeah. Right. But that's the thing. Like, I think with change, I think the best thing to do when you're dealing with change, especially if it's like something that you're just thrust into right off the bat, which I think a lot of us have been dealing with, especially if you've got children in school. The last year is really go back down to basics and really just focus on what you can control. And I think both of us did this beautifully, that once we realized the kids were going to be out of school, we attempted to do an episode and our kids were not getting along and it just was going to be welcome to the chaos of our life. And we both didn't feel like we were energetically into it, which is totally fine. And so we both just said, no, like, let's just let it go and use up what we have in the reserve, which was amazing. But the biggest thing, like, we both gave ourselves massive grace, and we both just, well, I can only, speak for myself, but like giving yourself massive grace in times of change, and then just going down to the basics. Like, we both just said, okay, we don't have the capacity for this right now. And that's okay. We pressed pause on it for 2 weeks, and to be able to just say, okay, our kids are the number one priority right now. Like, let's just do, the laundry can pile up, the dishes can sit in the sink. It doesn't fucking matter. Our kids need us now more than ever. And just going down to the bare basic and really only focusing on what you can control, I think is what got us through the last 2 weeks, especially just with the stress of needing to do this and all of the other things. But I think just dealing with change, I just go into survival mode. I clear off on my schedule anything that doesn't have to be done, and just basically focus on what is the most important thing that needs to be done right now. And it's come down to my kids. So
you said a lot of what I would say. Like, it's kind of a broad question to be able to answer. Like, it's really multifaceted. It depends what kind of change obviously you're being confronted with, but I think acknowledge whether you're in a stage of like thrive or survive, which I mean, the last 2 weeks of school closures, it was just kind of like survive, get by. Yep. You're at home with all the kids. I had 3 kids on 3 different devices all at the same fucking time. Thank you for scheduling it that way. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And like, just try and get through and get the basic things done in a day that you absolutely have to get done. Like, everybody has to drink, everybody has to eat.
Yep.
Make it to all your calls. And if nothing else gets done, if the dishes don't get done or the laundry doesn't get done or text messages don't get responded to or whatever, just let it go. Right. Like you said, figure out what you can control in the situation and focus on that. That's really all you can do when you have to change, because you can't control the things that you can't control. No. So the more time that you spend stressing about them, the harder it's going to be to adapt to change too.
And to add to that, you have to let go of the expectation of what it should look like. Like I had, like you said, I had 2 kids on 2 different devices at the same time. One of them was using my computer. And so that for me was like, okay, there goes 2 weeks of, as I'm rebranding my coaching company, like 2 weeks of no work for other, you know, other than after they're doing their work at 3:30, they're done. I don't want to jump on my computer and be on my computer for till 9:30 at night,
and it's
right?
Time
like
to cook supper and
it's family time and stuff. Right. And so that's just the thing, is like to release expectation of what it should look like is the biggest thing that I learned too, is that, I think you and I had a text message once we realized we were going to have 5 kids at home and we weren't going to be able to do our recordings. We were both like, okay, well, shit just hit the fan. Let's just do this. Let's get them all on their devices and let go of expectation. And if this is a total fail for 2 weeks, it's not going to hinder the rest of their lives. Right. Like, let's just do what we can with it.
We reminded each other that whatever we can get done, like, even if it's not this is enough. Right.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too, probably should mention that sometimes you deal with change by completely freezing and curling up in a ball and doing nothing. And that's perfectly fine too. 100%. Sometimes change is really freaking scary and really freaking hard, depending on what kind of change you're dealing with. It might be something absolutely massive and life-changing. And sometimes it's okay to retreat and rest and just kind of run away from it. But while you're doing that, I would encourage you to be mindful of it and still thinking about it and still trying to plot a path forward.
100%. And lots of self-care. Yeah. Massive amount of self-care. 100%. So good. Okay. You ready to switch gears? Yeah. Is it your turn to ask a question, or is it my turn still?
I asked you that one.
Okay. Oh, yay. I love this. Okay. You are a new addition to the crayon box. What color would you be and why?
Okay. So this is the one you started answering before. And I was like, stop answering the questions. It's like, you're just going to think I'm copying you later.
Don't copy
me. I think you said something sparkly. No, as soon as I copied that question over from where I found it, I was like, I'd be purple and sparkly.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Purple's my favorite. So I would be like the most vibrant, beautiful, like electric purple, but sparkly.
Ooh. See, and purple has always been my favorite color since growing up. It's so funny that you say your favorite color is purple. I did not know that about you. That's always been my favorite color.
Really?
Too.
You can't tell?
Well, and it's so funny. I should dig out. I actually might. Oh, I don't have it. I have a picture. So, okay. Funny story about colors and purple. I have a picture that my dad took. So years ago when I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7, my mom and my dad wanted us to get a really nice Christmas picture done. And so I don't wear dresses. Like I fucking hate wearing dresses. I have only ever worn a dress for weddings, bridesmaidy things. Like that's it. I don't wear dresses. And my dad my mom had bought me this really cute little white dress for this Christmas picture or whatever. And the only way that I was going to wear it was if they compromised and let me wear these knee-high purple socks. Like fucking cutest socks ever. They're ugly now that I look back on them. They were just purple socks. But that was the compromise that my mom made with me to wear a dress for this picture. This was before I'd lost my hair. So she had my hair all done nice. Like it was whatever. So my dad was like, okay, fine. You can wear the fucking purple socks. Don't care. So we get the pictures back. Yeah. My dad had them cropped so that it's right at my knee. So you can't see the purple socks.
What a jerk.
I have the picture somewhere. Like it's this funny thing that we talk about in our family that like, do you remember that Christmas card that we cropped over Vanessa's purple socks? I'm like, but whatever, he got his picture, like the cute picture. But yeah, I thought for a second that maybe it was the one behind me, but it's not one of them. But Yeah, purple's always been my favorite color. I'd say if I was a crayon, I'd be like neon pink with sparkles. 100%. Because
we would look great together.
Right? We'd be like, what are from the 80s? What are like, not the Care Bears. They were like the girls that were oh my God, I can't think of them. I was really little.
Power Rangers?
No, not Power Rangers. There was like girls.
There was a pink Power Rangers.
There was girls in a band, and they were like, I think that they were like, they'd fight crime or something. I'm thinking of a Z. If somebody knows what we're talking about, please put it in the comments.
Somebody knows what Vanessa's talking about, because I don't know what she's talking about.
It was like a girl rock band, and it was animated. So it was like Care Bears and stuff, but I don't remember what it's called now. Anyways, I can just think of us as
figure it out now.
Oh God. Okay, you answer. Okay, you got to think of the next.
Stay off TikTok, Vanessa. Fuck. Focus. All right. What is your favorite word?
Oh, I have to think long and hard about this one. I have two. I have three. Let's be real.
You have to pick one. It's one word.
If I could pick one word, it would be love. If I could pick two words, my second one would be fuck. And if I could pick three words, it'd be kindness. Kindness actually is the same as love. So if we were going to say a good word, it'd be everything that encompasses love. But technically, fuck also encompasses love, if you want to go down that route. But fuck is like a
love fuck.
Like I fucking love you. Like, yeah, like that is that's like my favorite sentence. I fucking love you. Like that's my favorite sentence. Sending that amount of love out into the world. So yeah, I'd say love is my number one and fuck is my second. Number two. Yeah. What about you?
Awesome. You're going to laugh at me because I'm going to like super nerd here for a second. My favorite word is anti-disestablishmentarianism because I learned how to spell it in 3rd grade. And so I used to get to pick my own spelling list because I was really good at spelling, and the spelling lists in school were like not even remotely challenging for me.
Cat.
Well, like they were a little bit more advanced than that in 3rd grade, but literally
3rd grade. So yes. 1st grade.
No, 3rd grade. So yeah, after a while I get 100%. She'd say them and I'd like scribble them all down really fast and be like, okay, I'm done. And then she was like, okay, you need to pick your own because it's not challenging. She's like, but the rule is, and don't ask me this now because I don't remember, but the rule is that I could use the dictionary, which used to be a book back in the day with all the words in the English language. We don't really have them anymore.
Yep.
But I had to read the meaning. So I had to pick words purposely. So this story is going to take a turn here in a second. You're going to laugh your ass off. So anti-disestablishmentarianism, I don't know if it still is, but it was the longest word in the world. I think it's 28 letters, if I remember right.
Isn't it supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is the
that's
longest
not
sound?
An actual word.
But
like, that's not in like the Encyclopedia Britannica. It's not, it'll probably be an Urban Dictionary, but it's not an actual word. Anti-disestablishmentarianism is an actual word. Hold on. It's like a religious.
Supercalifragilistic. Wasn't that like Sharon, Lois, and Bram?
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yeah.
I have her on Instagram.
So, anti-disestablishmentarianism is the opposition to the withdrawal of state support or recognition from an established church, especially the Anglican Church. So just a really weird word, but I just like even back then you couldn't Google the longest word in the world. I just remember finding it and I was like, fuck, that word's really big. I should totally, and it's really not that hard once you break it all down.
Yeah.
So anyways, I learned how to spell that in 3rd grade. And that was like my claim to fame for a little while. All my friends were like super impressed. But anyways, fast forward a few spelling lists later. And one day I had forgot to like put my list. I was supposed to like put it together in advance kind of thing and give it to the teacher. And I forgot. So I was like scrambling to try and my only qualification was find long words that would be like hard to spell to impress my teacher. So I hand in the list and she's like, did you look up the meaning for all these? Yeah, sure did. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, so what does this word mean? And I was like,
oh no,
I don't know. Cause I didn't look. And she's like, I think you should pull out the dictionary and go look up this word. And then I think you should pick a new one. And I was like, why? Like, it's a long word. It looks really hard. The word I chose was masturbation. So in 3rd grade, I learned what masturbation was, thank you to my teacher. And I had to pick a new word for my spelling list. So there's that fun little story for you. So I would say my 2 favorite words are anti-disestablishmentarianism and masturbation. Fuck, I don't even think I really comprehended what the word meant, but my mom still tells like everybody that fucking story to this
Oh my God. You should have pre-warned me. My face hurts.
I wanted that to be authentic. As soon as I saw that question, I was like, I had a tangent off in this story. Vanessa will love this story.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's so funny. My face hurts. Masturbation.
So
could you imagine being the teacher?
And she was like, as straight faced, she was like, did you look up the definition? And I was like, yeah, sure did. Well, what does it mean? Oh, I can't remember right now. Well, you should probably go double check and you might want to change it. And I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't want to change this word. And I read it and I was like,
could you imagine if you had researched it, but it just didn't click because you didn't understand like what it would mean. And then you answered her when she asked what it meant? Like, could you imagine how straight faced she would have been?
Like, what's wrong with this word?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious.
Yep. Oh. So I went to the dictionary and found the definition, which is stimulation of the genitals with the hand for sexual pleasure. And once I saw the like sex part in there, I was like, ooh, I probably shouldn't have chose that word.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Oh,
anyways,
so that's a story I'm now going to tell everyone. So now it's gone out past your own family. That's going to be something that'll be like, oh, do you know my friend Amanda that does the podcast with me? Ask her about her grade 3 spelling bee.
Yep. Yeah. Oh so that's fun.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's so funny. Okay.
Oh, very good.
Oh, do we want to finish the last 3? Or should we?
Yeah, I think we could. Let's try and power through.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You want to leave it on the masturbation note? You just want that to be in everybody's mind going forward,
right? Oh my gosh. I think we need to change our word, our celebratory word from tequila
to masturbation.
Right. Woo!
We definitely don't want to make it anti-disestablishmentarianism because that's way too long. Funny. But is it ironic that one has to do with the church and the next one has to do with
right? Oh my gosh. So funny.
Anyways.
Oh my God.
Next.
Okay. Room, desk, and car. Which do you clean first?
This one's super easy for me. I'd clean my room before anything because I spend more time there than anything. And every morning when I wake up, I make my bed because my favorite thing at night is to get into a like made bed. It just lowers my stress level instantly. So I would definitely clean my room first, even though my car is really filthy right now because we just went through winter.
Yeah, I'm not a car cleaner. I keep it decent, but then once every 6 months, my kids ask me for $10. I'm like, you can go vacuum out my car, go wipe it down. And then they do. Best $10 I ever spent. I'd say, it's a tie for me between a room and a desk, which I know we're not allowed to do. I'd say I'd have to have my desk clean first. I'd clean my desk and then I'd clean the room. I wouldn't be able to pick one or the other. I'd have to do the whole thing. But if like the desk was in the room, I'd clean the room, including the desk. I can't handle clutter. If there's a lot of clutter in a space, my brain is cluttered. Yeah. So I can't. Yeah. And I'm the same as you. I do not leave my bedroom in the morning without making my bed. Because if I leave my bedroom, if I leave my bed unmade, I feel like the rest of my day is not productive. No. Like if I get up if I get up in the morning and I make my bed, I've done something. Yeah. As silly. And this is like a total pro tip for anybody who's struggling with like feeling accomplished. Start making your bed every morning. Yeah. Because no matter what, at the end of the day, if you are like that whole day just went to like hell on fire, at least you made your bed. There's a little bit of accomplishment, right? Yeah. Yeah. I definitely say my room if my desk is in it. For sure.
Yeah. That's fair. All right.
You should say this one since you could figure out how to say it.
Vanessa was having a hard time putting this question together.
I didn't make it sound as nice as it is.
What trait is your biggest downfall?
Love.
In what capacity? Why is it a downfall?
I think it's my best capacity and it's my biggest downfall because I love to the point of caring too much about what other people think. Like I love to help people in the capacity that like I will do almost anything for somebody, especially if there's like a heart hurting. But that's also my biggest downfall because I'm working on my boundaries with that I want to help people to the greatest capacity I can, but then it does hinder me sometimes. So I'd say my biggest downfall is my heart. But I love my heart. Like it's the greatest, but it just sometimes takes a turn where it's
quite often things like that are a double-edged sword where it's too much of a good thing is still not always a good thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, totally.
I think mine is I'm very, very much like an all or nothing kind of person. And I think that can be really great for me. And it can also be really detrimental to me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I can feel that too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I could totally relate to that. Ooh, I think that this is a good one. I think you and me are going to have kind of the same. What do you take for granted?
Yeah, this is a tough question. I think, and I really think this last year maybe has highlighted that, but taking for granted just like the day-to-day things that we get to do in the country that we live in. And like we're really lucky where we live. There's a lot of very, very terrible things that happen in other parts of the world that I can't even comprehend them. You can see pictures, you can read articles, you can watch videos, you don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
Like there is bad shit and bad people and bad things that happen in the world. And I think we just take for granted how good our life really is, that we freaking bitch about it nonstop. And it's really not that bad. Like if the worst part of our day is that we wonder if we freaking can afford to go out for supper or something like that, like it could be so much worse than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I take for granted just the freedoms that I think the last year we haven't had as well.
Yeah.
Just like the other day I was thinking to myself, like, how crazy is it that when we reopen, we're going to be able to go sit down at a table and have lunch with friends? Like I take like being able to do that for granted because it's so crazy how things can change in a heartbeat. But I am very grateful that the fact that, you know, like I think this last year has been, I don't know, this last year has been really, really hard in some aspects, but it's been so great in some points too. Like I think without having everything locked down and having everything shut down, I wouldn't have reconnected with my boys the way that I have. And especially like my boys are 14 and 11 now. So they're at that age, especially my oldest one, where he's like too cool for school with his mom, you know, like he's separating from me a little bit, which is so exciting. But at the same time, it's like, it's really hard as a mom. Cause I just brought him home from the hospital yesterday. Like how the hell is he 14? You know what I mean? Like I just brought him home from the hospital. I just peed on the stick and found out I was pregnant with him. And now he's like getting ready to leave me, you know, like it's, so I think I've taken that for granted is, I don't know. I'm grateful for the last year that everything has been shut down and everything has been slow so that I could reconnect with my kids. But I do take for granted the freedoms that we had before everything locked down, like simple things like having coffee and, you know, going for lunch with friends and reconnecting that way. So yeah, it's hard, but I'm kind of in the same boat as you too. So it's, you know, we do, I think, live in a country and a society that we do take a lot for granted, because even on my worst days, I have the days where you know, you get down and you're like, oh, I'm failing and this isn't working out, that isn't working out, and I'm whatever. And you're doing your negative self-talk and all the things, and you're not in flow states. So you feel like you're grinding and things just aren't working out. And when you take a step back and you remember, like, I'm safe. I'm warm. I have food. Everybody I love is healthy. Things are okay.
Yeah.
You know, we do take that for granted. I definitely think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
100%.
Yeah.
Masturbation.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to cut the
just
tension.
Couldn't leave it alone.
Had to cut the tension. So good.
Could have left it on a
good episode.
Note, but
could have.
No.
But that's not us.
Leave it on a dirty note.
That's not us. Absolutely. Dirty is our middle name. 100%.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'll let you do your outro before I cut you off like I usually do.
Yes. Right. I know we're getting better at this. It's still way too long, but we'll figure it out one day.
I know we went into this thinking we'll do a short half an hour one. I think we've probably hit an hour again.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. We spent a long time talking about the goose, but anyways, we are so grateful for everybody who listens to us, leaves us reviews, and tags us on social media. Keep doing that. Please be sure to hit subscribe if you want to be reminded when new episodes drop, which is every Monday on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and YouTube. Leave us a review, which you can do on every episode. You can leave us a 5-star rating and a review. We would absolutely love if you would do that. And most importantly, please share with people that you think may benefit from our message. If you ever have questions or want to reach out to us, you can find us and follow our social media handles, which are all below, or email us at any time at selfloveuncensored@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And if you're ever interested in being a guest, shoot us a message via social media or Instagram or whatever, because we are definitely looking to share some stories. So thank you for such an awesome episode today, Amanda. So fun.
Yeah, this was fun.
It was very fun. Let's do more of these. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, please let us know as well. Funny or not funny.
Yeah,
100%.
That's right.
Definitely.
That's right. There might be some fun spin-offs.
Totally. Well, until next week, friends.
There's no questions about masturbation. None. That is not our specialty.
I frantically.
That is a form of self-love, but that's not our expertise. So.
So good. I love how you wrapped that up. You just brought that totally 360. So good. Oh, I love it. Right. Until next week, friends, have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Bye.